prioritizing sustainable, balanced, and inclusive growth. And together we are pursuing low carbon, climate resilient, and sustainability goals for the environment. So we are not just talking about trends, we're talking about movements that are shaping the world. From smart cities to sustainability, we are covering it all. Because these are the gears that drive true progress. So I want to reiterate again, let's co-create consistently high-performing buildings.
Let us call for inaugural speech. Buildings account for 30 to 40% of global energy consumption. This includes energy used for heating, cooling, lighting, powering appliances and devices. In urban areas, this percentage can be even higher, wow, making buildings a key target for energy efficiency improvements and sustainable energy practices. And did you know, even I came to know just some time back, by 2030, over 60% of world's population will live in cities. And that's why smart cities are no longer an option. They are inevitable. We are talking about AI-driven infrastructure, energy efficiency, and automation that makes life smoother, safer, and smarter for everyone. To kick us off, we have visionaries among us who have been shaping urban landscapes, blending technology and economic insights.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for a powerful opening. Our first speaker will transport us into Digital India Vision 2015. This is more than just a vision, it's a roadmap to a smarter, more connected nation. Let's welcome with a big cheer, big round of applause, Mr. Vinayak Pai, MD, CEO, Tata Projects, to share insights into the bold future of India Vision 2050.
Good morning, Pune. Extremely glad to be here today to address on this occasion INBAC. And to be honest, till Saki came up with the invite, I was not aware of this whole concept of INBAC and what it is doing. And I'm glad I, sort of took up the invite because I learned so much while preparing for this, as well as when I came in, I saw a lot of stuff which is happening. So as Saki said, a lot of people who are closer to the ground and know much more who will be talking later. I just wanted to touch upon a few things as to this whole topic of building automation. I would probably break it up into three parts. The first one is, let's say, why are we doing this? Why is it important, right? So first question is why. Then, the second one is what to do, right? If we have to do it, what to do. And then the third one is how to do it, right? So why? And my friend Akash just talked about 30% of the global population moving to cities. It's much higher in India at this point in time. In India, it's actually 33%. 1/3 of our population is already in the cities, and it has increased from 25-27%. And by 2030, 40% of the people are going to be in cities. So in the backdrop of that, the why is easy to define. Also easy to define is the fact that the population demographics are changing, right? We have to cater to the needs. I always feel that, we are of a certain people who actually drive the industry and make decisions are at a certain age bracket, and we look at things from our, but a large part of that population is going to be Gen Z, the youngsters. Their needs are different. The other change in dynamic is there are a lot of people from outside India who will come and live in these cities, who are already living in these cities. India is growing at, we all know, 8%, 7 to 8% of GDP growth, which is unparalleled today in anywhere in the world. The average across the world is 3%. Many of the Western economies are just limping back to 1%. And India is growing at 6%, 7% consistently, maybe even 8%. Right? The amount of investment in infrastructure and construction in India is again tremendous. The investment in infrastructure is almost 8% of the GDP, which is almost more than $300 billion in a year. And that's just in the public infrastructure, which the government invests in. There is a lot of private sector investments. And then there is a lot of real estate investments. So when we look at that whole picture, there are a lot of global companies who want to come to India and be part of the Indian story. In fact, we all know, especially people of our generation, that it was very rare for anyone from India to go overseas in the 90s. And, you know, if visitors from overseas come, we used to feel great interacting with them. Those were people who were probably engineers or managers, and if they come, we used to feel great about it. Since in this new century, since 2000, more and more senior people have started coming. The CEOs, direct reports, you know, who run global businesses, find now India as a part of their business, which is coming out with opportunities. So those global head of businesses come to India to really find out what's happening, how can we grow the business. In the last couple of years, the number of CEOs who are coming to India have increased dramatically. Yeah? Satya Nadella comes every January and spends 2 weeks in India. And he actually said that he follows what Chandra told him, Chandrasekaran, our chairman of the Tata Group. He was leading the B20 during the last year's G20 presidency in India. So Chandra used to say that a lot of global CEOs asked me how to grow our business in India. And he said the only way you can do it is park yourself in India for an extended duration every year. Don't be a visitor. Don't come in Monday and fly out on a Wednesday. If you really want to understand India, come and stay in. Actually, Satya Nadella took it to heart. He spends 10 days every January. Typically, he comes also to Bombay House and talks to us and gives insights, and it's great to learn from him. And then when people like that come, the boards come. You know, the number of boards in the last, few months, the Lufthansa board was in India, and they all want to meet us, understand how the country is growing, what's happening in this space. The whole board of directors of a company called Ramboll from Sweden, they were from Denmark, they were here. So the amount of interest in India, getting back to my point, will drive more and more global people coming and not only visiting India but staying also. So when that happens, the why about automation and to make a great experience is absolutely imperative and doesn't need to be debated any further. Right? Now, the what part? Yeah? What is it we are doing here? I believe that as I was listening today to some of the comments, I was correlating to the vision which we have set for Tata Projects, which is delivering predictable projects using predictable and sustainable projects using technology. Right? That's our vision we stated. Right? So the need for predictable projects is absolutely critical, because if we look at the statistics of the number of projects, the delays on projects and the cost overruns of projects is staggering. Yeah, the Indian statistic, the Central Statistics Organization publishes annually data of the projects. And they tell us that more than 65% of our projects are delayed. And the average delay is 12 to 18 months. Right? And 20% of those projects don't have a completion date at all. They're still not able to predict their completion date. Right? So that's the predictability, and then the cost, their average 15 to 20% cost overruns on projects. So we took it upon us to have a vision to drive improvement in this. And we felt that to do it, we also need to drive sustainability and technology. That's the only way to take this head on. Right? So the use of technology, So what are we going to do is going to be very different than what we have done in the past. And I think sustainability and technology are intertwined extremely. Today, everybody talks about sustainability. Corporations have their ESG goals, which are primary. They have to be listed. Every shareholder wants to know the ESG goals of company. So sustainability is absolutely critical and top of everyone's radar. But we realize that sustainability and technology are extremely flanged up together, right? I'll give you an example about sustainability, which, always when, till 2017-18, hardly sustainability was the top three parameters of any global company. Today, every global company has sustainability among their top three priorities. So when we started, I was in US at that time, and when this concept started coming and we started studying, we looked at all the data of, is the energy transition really going to happen, right? We all talk about energy transition, the race to net zero, these COP summits which take place. Is it going to happen? And there's a lot of debates, a lot of opinions around that, but I found one piece of information which is actually, I think, put out by McKinsey, very insightful. They showed a picture of a certain street corner in New York in 1911. It was on a particular day of the year in 1911, they took a picture of the street, and New York is in a grid, so the two intersecting streets. And it was full of horse carts, and there was one car in between. And they took a picture of the same place after 2 years, in 1913. And there was one horse cart and all the others were cars. So when the tipping point comes, the transition happens, and it happens rapidly. And by the way, that transition happened because the New Yorkers could not stay with the smell of the manure which came from those horse carts, right? And really, it seems funny, but what we are going through today with the weather disruptions, we'll find it very difficult to live with this for long. So the energy transition has to happen and happen rapidly, right? So that's real. But then the sustainability, even the motor car would not have survived by itself if not for technology and automation, right? The cars of 1913 in that picture and the cars of today are tremendously different in terms of technology evolution, right? The connectedness, the automation which is there, the safety features which are there, the comfort which is there. And that's the only way, without use of technology, you can't influence all this and make it sustainable. So again, relating back to our smart cities, they cannot sustain if these elements of technology are not embedded in the way they are designed from the beginning, right? So I think that's where I believe we all need to reflect on. And lastly, how are we going to do this? And Shraddha more than once referred to a term which I love very dearly when it comes to things like this, which is co-creation. I think more than once I heard her say that. Individually, we are not going to get there in this technology race, and and co-creation is the only example. And the faster we learn it, the better it will be. Our problem typically is that we all look at projects in phases. The architect will come first, conceptualize, then the designers will come design, then the MEP people will come, put the automation in, and then the constructor will come, right? According to me, the best way of doing it is everyone gets together on day one. Now, most of the people who do it will point at their procurement processes that it is not possible. I would say just figure it out. Like many things in business you do, just figure out how to do it. Because again, there is a business case for this. In all this lack of predictability in projects and buildings, there is one standout example of a project which was done on time and ahead of time in very difficult circumstances, which is again, unfortunately goes back to New York, the Empire State Building. Empire State Building was built in 1928-29 in the middle of the Great Depression. when the economy was not doing well, there were a lot of challenges. Yeah? Empire State Building at that point in time was a 100-story plus building and was the tallest building in the world, and it being planned in time. In fact, while constructing it, they realized that the Chrysler building was coming up to be higher than them. They added that spire at the top to still remain at the top. So there were changes in the execution of the project. And we all know how difficult it is to put these buildings in place. Can you imagine how much time it took to make that building after they started construction to completion? Any guesses? Five years, 3 years, it took 13 months. Go and look up the record, go and look up Wikipedia, go and look up somewhere. Yeah? And that is because everyone related to the project, including the constructor, there was a US senator who took it upon himself to drive this project. And he brought everyone related to the project on one table on day one, including the architects, the designers, the constructors, and said, plan it well yourself together. Don't go into construction without planning it well. So again, there is a lesson for us of how to do it, right? If we are able to co-create this, if we are able to get the automation people on the design board right at the beginning, even at the when the architects are conceptualizing the master plan, look at the impact it will have on the overall project. And we just, for the sake of following some procurement processes, we let go of this great opportunity to accelerate the project and create great projects. And again, I think that today, honestly, sitting at the time of 2021, 22, we never thought that there will be such a boom in real estate as it is now. But you look at what's happening today, especially in the luxury housing space, right? There are apartments which are being sold. We are doing a project in Gurgaon at 60, 70 crores to 120 crores. These are apartments. Yeah? So ultra premium housing. And then if there is the element of automation is not there, who is going to buy these houses, right? How can you sell a house worth, forget that, even 5 crore or 10 crore or 15 crore, without being able to showcase sustainability, without the ability to showcase automation. So I think it's a great initiative, INBAC, to drive this. And I'm really glad because, the sustainability related certifications are there. The automation related certifications are today missing. So it's very spotty. A lot of people claim a lot of things, but whether it is real or not, you don't know. So I'm very glad that we have a common framework, or we are developing a common framework which will enable people to rate themselves on a common platform, which is so very important to be able to drive this whole automation piece forward. So once again, I wish this function all the best. It's a great pleasure to be invited. Thank you, Saki, and everyone. And I look forward to a very engaging conference over the next 2 days. Thank you very much.